Hello, I'm Benson and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you a gimbal, and this is from FeiyuTech and it's the SCORP 3. This is the kit version which comes with a bit more accessory than your vanilla version. This is for big camera and it has a capacity of up to 3.5 kilos, and I'll be using it with my Canon EOS R. The picture is showing the gimbal carrying a EOS cinema camera. Obviously those are thousands of pounds. I think that one is 4,000 something pounds, and with that kind of expensive gear you do expect to pay a bit more for your gimbal, but still this gimbal is only 400 pounds. Usually they are listed at 460 pounds, but you do get vouchers sometime on screen. So at the moment I paid about 400 pounds for this. If you have been following my channel, I have been doing a lot of video with FeiyuTech. I think last video I have about 4 or 5 gimbals here, and I managed to downsize, so I only kept the latest SCORP Mini 3 Pro, and this is for my Sony EV1, which I use a lot. I only have 2 gimbals going forward. I will have one for my mirrorless and I have one for my DSLR. Now the reason why I downsized and actually kind of upgraded to the latest version, because when I tested the SCORP 3 Mini Pro, the AI tracking is the latest and is fantastic, and I also love the little handle that you can detach as a remote. And for those 2 reasons, I downsized and upgraded. My video is not scripted, and if you find my information useful, don't forget to share, like and subscribe to my channel to help me grow. All I'm going to do is open the box in front of the camera, show you the user experience, a bit about balancing my DSLR camera. Maybe I will test it with some unusual lens that you're going to use on a gimbal. I think this is a very good way to test how well the motor are functioning, because this is going to be really unbalanced, and you decide how good or how bad this is. So let me show you what your 400 pounds can buy. And if you are in America, don't forget the exchange rate is about 1 to 1, so you'll be paying about $400. But with the new import tariff, you may be paying a bit more. Anyway, so it comes in a box like this. It's already like a lovely case. I usually keep the box for resale value. This one here actually comes with its own handy carrying case. This is same as the last gimbal, which comes as a kit. And you also have a carbon fiber extension tube. So basically this one have a 1/4 inch mount on the bottom and the 1/4 inch screw on top. Very lightweight, and it's very useful for getting your camera to eye level if you use it on the desktop. Now this is a kind of a soft case with good protection, and inside you got a pouch for all your cables. The previous version I think is Velcro, and now they have a zip. And once you open the zip, your cable and things like that will not fall out, because they have this kind of a shadow netting to hold all your accessories. So you got some strap and L brackets. I think this is the one that they use to quickly convert it from vertical shooting to horizontal. You got some USB-C cable, a quick mount plate, and then another mounting plate. So that's all the accessory in the pouch area. Got your information leaflet, and you got your cards with QR code, which will take you to the useful online tutorials. Now what makes this a kit is that it actually comes with the lights as well, quite useful in a total darkness kind of condition. And you've got a ball joint mounting. I guess this is more for the lights, so you can mount your lights and change direction as such. You got your tripod legs. Now this one do spread open widely and give you a very stable stand. And then you got your gimbal itself. Now the gimbal is really hefty, and this is actually weight a lot more than the Mini, as it should, because you got massive motor here to overcome the 3.5 kilograms of payload if you need to carry that amount of gear. This is the little handle which comes out as a remote. You got a release button on the side here. You press it and you have to slide it downwards, so the chance of it falling off is quite slim by accident. And you got your joystick and remote button when you link it to your camera. Now in terms of the gimbal itself, it is a free motor gimbal, and the bottom gimbal here should be 360, so you can actually free spin, and that do make some interesting shots. You got your reel in the front. You can program it to be using it for tilt, or you can use it for focusing ring if you do have that kind of attachment. And you got your 1/4 inch mounting system here, which is for if you want to have accessory on the side. Now all the arms and motor casing is all metal, and you got a rubberized grip on the bottom here. Because this is the full version, I do find the mini version quite small, and I always have the tripod end attached, and I usually hold on to the tripod instead of the grip. But for this one, I'm 6'1", and you know, it fits my hand grip perfectly. And if I'm holding a heavy camera, I want to have all the grip that available to me. On this side here, you got a functional button, you got on-off button, and you got a and B button. This is quite useful if you have presets in terms of like the pointing direction where the gimbal moves the camera for you. Apart from that, quite a standard FeiyuTech gimbal that I'm quite used to. Okay, let's figure out together how to mount my camera onto this gimbal. So to help you navigate through your gimbal, first thing you look for is the AI camera. So with the AI camera, this should be facing front. So if I'm holding the camera, then you want the AI camera to be facing the same way. I use my camera mainly horizontally, so I use the L bracket and slice it into place. Once it slides in place, it does have a little catch here to stop it from, you know, accidentally coming off. So if you want to take the L plate off, you do have to press down to release it, or else you won't be able to take it off. So with the L bracket in place, you also need a forward and backward bracket. And on the bracket, it actually tells you which way is facing forward. You've got a lens with a lens hood pointing that way, and our AI camera is pointing that way as well. You release that, you won't be able to put it through. Once you slide the metal plate on, you'll realize that this one is actually on a rail, and you got a little turning knob here, which can fine adjust how much you go forward and backward. With a heavy camera, this is a good addition to have. And finally, the quick release plate, which is going onto your bottom of your DSLR, and then you can put your DSLR onto the last bracket. Now your camera bracket are locked in by the kind of a thumb screw. Make sure it's tight so it's not going anywhere. So now we can proceed to balance the camera. So what you need to do is unlock the arms so they can freely move and rotate. So there's 3 locking system here. So your camera is going to be lopsided because I have never seen a camera balance itself before. And if you turn it on, it might work, it might not work, but you got to stress out the motor, and you won't get any smooth video out of this. So first thing I'll do is let's balance it sideways so you know it's easier to work on. So it's a bit difficult to balance it perfectly because we do have a flip screen. Sometimes I use it off, sometimes I use it open, but because I use it mostly with it open, so I balance my camera with this thing open. So I want it to stay sideways. It's kind of too heavy on this side, so I'm going to move the bracket this side. This is just a rough balancing because later on we do have to fine adjust it. So this is kind of working now. So you got one axle where it doesn't want to stay on one position. You can actually swing it and it's happily to move around. And the next step is to balance the tilt. So I got a small lens on at the moment, so this is very easy to balance, but I want to challenge myself, so I'm going to take this off. I'm going to change it to the massive long lens. Now, I never make video with a long lens. This is more portrait, but for test purposes, I'm going to mount it on my camera. All right, so let's mount the lens on with the converter. Now, because the lens is so long in the front, it will tend to just point downwards. So what you need to do is move the camera back. Now, how far back, I do not know. Would it accept it? I don't know either. I'm just playing around with a gimbal. So what I want to do is I want to push the camera back until it doesn't want to tilt forward anymore. And this is actually to the max. And now, with the new lens, it tends to, like, you know, lopsided again on the left. So what I need to do is I push the bracket to the right. Yep, okay. The camera still wants to tilt forward, but I can't move this backwards anymore, I don't think. And then I'm going to fine tune the tilt left and right. So it wants to be lopsided. So I'm going to push it just a fraction to the right. Yep, more like it. Usually this one uses the least amount of force because it's only rotating and it's not really shifting the weight of the camera. So what I usually do is I tilt it slightly until it has some work to do. So the center of gravity is now pointing to one direction. And you can tell that it wants to move that direction. It wants to stay that way. So what I'll do is I move the bracket towards that and see what happens. The good thing is all this you want to point that even more, so maybe I should move it away. So the good thing is all these arms have marking on it. You can actually use a marker to draw out. So if you do need to change your camera, you can actually mark the space that you're moving them to. Yep, it's a bit less now. So what you want to do is you want to move it in such a position that it doesn't really want to swing any direction. It just wants to free spin, which is not perfect, but good enough. So now with the camera balance, not really balanced, but balanced to the best that we can. This thing is falling off. So what we now can do is switch it on. Now when you switch it on, the motor will start to engage and you now have a stabilized camera. So what we have here is the Scope 3 stabilizer with my Canon EOS R and the long lens in the front. This is very unusual because we don't usually shoot video with that. But just to illustrate how strong the motor is and what it can do and what it can't do. This is the first time we switch it on, so it's on the setup menu. So it's asking you if you want English, Chinese, or other languages. You got multiple languages that you can choose from, and I am going to choose English. So on the touchscreen you got some information. So you got on the left hand side you got the joystick power level, battery level, and you also got the gimbal battery level. And what's the hefty little trick is that the handle actually comes off. This is super handy. You can set up on a tripod, move away, and you don't need to touch your camera, and you can just move it up and down. This is one of the reasons why I sold off all my previous gimbal and upgrade to this version. I think this is make my life so much easier. Now with your camera mounted and balanced, the first thing you want to do is do a motor power calibration. So if you touch that, so auto tune, start tuning. I do recommend holding your camera gear down because it does give you some violent shake. Basically it's testing how much power it needs to stabilize the camera. Just now you can see that the gimbal works straight away without calibration, but if you want butter smooth footage, this is what you need to do every time you change camera on the gimbal. And then calibration complete. So it's not something that you need to do yourself. And you can see that it's working really hard for panning the camera because this is way too long and the bracket can't go back anymore. If I can move the bracket even slightly back, then the motor don't need to work so hard. But like I say, this is just a test. And you can manually adjust it if you want to, which we're not going to do. Ooh, let's move it back. The other two axle hardly use any power at all. Not to do it one hand, but you will kind of get used to very soon. Now I do feel a little bit of motor vibration when it's pointing down because of that motor being really hard work. As soon as I tilt it up a bit, the vibration kind of gone. Okay, later on I'm not going to mess about, I'm going to change it back to the normal lens. But for now, this is what it looks like. Now when you scan the QR code on the instruction leaflet, it will take you to your iOS store or a Play Store and you can download the app. And the app that we need is the FeiyuTech SCORP. I already got a feel of the gimbal before, so it takes me straight to the app. Click here to connect and it automatically search what gimbals are available around you. So after a while your phone app will find the gimbal and it comes up on screen and you just click on it. And when you connect to your gimbal the first time, it will come up with a pin and you have to press confirm on that, I guess. And now on the handle it will show you that your Bluetooth is on and we should now have access to the gimbal. Now with any electronic device, I don't like to use it straight away. I like to get the battery charged up. So at the moment there's 2 bar battery on the gimbal itself. Actually 1 bar on the gimbal and 2 bar on the handle. So I'm going to charge it up before I'm going to play with it. To show you it's actually connected. You can actually change a lot of custom setting on from your phone, which I find it a lot more useful. The knob, you can actually change it to tilt or actually pan or other function if you want to. Motor power, we adjusted it so the pan is actually overpowering the unbalanced lens at the moment, which works just fine. And if you're not familiar with FeiyuTech gimbal, don't worry about it. You can always do the quick start guide. It tells you camera balance and how to use the gimbal, etc. Even if you don't have the remote, you can use your phone to automatically shift the position of your camera. But what I find the phone app is useful not as a joystick, but as to do B-roll shots and stuff like that. You can use it to set perimeter and let it move automatically. Now this is the function that I haven't used before, but I find it really interesting, is that, for example, I know some people actually use a phone as a camera, but they also want the best footage, so they have some setup like this. And without a cameraman, you can actually press the joypad button here. So now it uses the gyroscope on your phone, so whenever you move the phone, it will follow. How cool is that? Obviously, how much they will move depends on your setting, but I thought that was quite cool. And to charge your gimbal, the port is actually in the front right here, pointing downwards. So you plug it in. Yeah, you plug in your USB cable to charge your gimbal, and you can actually charge and use at the same time, which is quite handy. So now I'm going to leave it charge, and then I come back and finish the second half of this video with you guys. So at the moment, the DSLR is on the gimbal, which is really stable on the bench, but it's not doing much because it's quite static. There's a LED on the AI camera, which is showing red at the moment, which is not doing anything at all. Now, if I move close to the frame, you can see that my head is now cut off, which is not great. So what I'll do is, if I step back a little bit, and then I do the OK sign, and then now it starts to track me. Now, it's not tracking my face because I have set it to do my whole upper body. But usually what happens is it will track my face. And the reason why I can do that is that if I do the framing function, let's say if I want to track my face dead on, so I have to actually move the camera by doing that. And then now, it's more to my face. If I come closer, then you understand. It no longer cut my face off at the edge of the frame. So this is really handy. So this is not new. The last AI function have the same thing as well, gesture control. You move around, they track where you are. When you have enough, then you stop it. And now if I move around, it no longer follow me. So it's quite useful when you are doing this solo on your own. And the other good thing about this is that it has a light built in as well. So obviously in my studio, when it's static, I'm always lit. But if you are using this on the go, and sometimes you do need a little bit of light. You don't have to use the FeiyuTech kit lights. You can always like mount your own panel on the side as well. So in terms of tracking, how far can it go? So when I test out the other SCORP 3, we already established that it is a much more superior AI than the previous generation, because the previous generation, I think the AI is a bit slower, and this one here is more advanced, and that's why I upgraded to this particular model. Now I'm completely hidden by the chair. Come back up, and I'm still in frame.
From Hong Kong to London, he's chasing his dreams. A pharmacist by trade, but there's more to his schemes. Tech and gadgets light his fire, he's got a knack. DIY runs in his veins, there's no turning back. 2 kids by his side, a family so tight, a loving wife who's his beacon of light. In a world so fierce, he's carving his place. With passion and heart, he's setting the pace. Benson's on a mission, rising to the top.
This is the end of my video, and thank you very much for watching. If you find my information useful, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to my channel to help me grow. I can't wait to see you next time with more interesting gadgets. Bye bye.
From Hong Kong to London, he's chasing his dreams. A pharmacist by trade, but there's more to his schemes. Tech and gadgets light his fire, he's got a knack. DIY runs in his veins, there's no turning back. 2 kids by his side.
Okay, so since you guys watch until the last minute of my video, I'm going to show you something fun. Since I have 2 FeiyuTech latest gimbal here, they both have a detachable handle. I always think to myself, can you actually use both of them at once? So on my left hand side, I got the Sony EV1 on the Scope 3 Mini and that Pro, and then on my right I got the DSLR, which I have been using for this camera. Now I have two remote control here. One is for the Sony and one is for the DSLR. So the question that I have always on my mind has been answered. Can you use both at the same time? Yes, you can.